Hey gang, welcome back to the shop. This is Bob and thanks for joining me once again. Beautiful day here in central Arizona. Looks to be close to 70 degrees on this November 23rd. Don't want to rub it into those of my friends that are, well, up in the Pacific Northwest in the cold, but I'm going to rub it in. Hey, today I'm going to work on some dresser drawers. Mama Bear brought home a really beautiful antique oak dresser, and two big drawers in it the bottoms are all warped and twisted, and there's been some, not great repairs done in the past on it. So today, let me show you how I fix a soggy bottom in a dresser drawer. So here's what we have. We have this nice, beautiful oak dresser drawer. I don't know enough about styles and whatnot to tell you, but really nice with this wavy front, solid wood. But the problem is, as you can see on the bottom here, it's got quite a lot of wear. You see these tracks here where this drawer bottom has been rubbing on the dresser frame. And we can also see there's been a repair done here. There's a whole rail that's been replaced here. And I think that when that was done, there was a new drawer bottom put in as well. Now, something that was kind of a bummer is that somebody did the unthinkable and they tried to glue all this. And when you glue a drawer bottom into a drawer, it can no longer move and flex with the drawer, and you have some other issues. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out. We're going to build a new bottom to put in here, and I'll show you how I go about it. I am not a furniture restoring expert, but by golly, we'll get her done. Okay, so first steps are to flip the drawer over and pull out any nails that are holding the drawer bottom to the drawer. Now, I did get ahead of myself. I've already taken this apart and pulled it, but often these little nails, they're countersunk down in here and they're really hard to get to. You're working with just 1/4 inch material, usually a fairly thin drawer back. In this case, it's old. It's an old dresser and things get kind of dry and brittle. So you can't take a hammer and really get after it. You don't want to beat on it from the backside. So what I do is I use a putty knife. And what I'll get is when I first started this project, I worked my putty knife in here like this so I could work this up. Probably can't see past my hand, but do this action and just try to gently work your way across to pull it up. And once you get yourself, if you can get yourself an 1/8 inch or so of slack, usually kick it once with your hand and this nail head will pop right up. Well, once that nail head pops up, take a pair of dikes, if you've got them, wire cutters, and then you can grab a hold like this and press down. And you can take little nibbles and little nibbles, just to grab it and pull it up, grab it and pull it up. That way you don't have a claw hammer in here. You're not ripping and yanking and twisting and maybe making more damage. Let's get this out now and take a look at what we're working with. Okay, let's see if we can get this guy out of here. Where's my putty knife when I need it? There we go. Probably don't have the camera set up where it does the most good, but I think you'll get the idea here. We're going to real careful like pull this drawer bottom up and out of the drawer frame. I think I am. Kind of a sticky rascal. Come on. I'm trying to be a little bit careful because I don't want to take the whole drawer apart, because we've got some nice joinery here, but as you can see from this piece, this is only 1/4 inch thick here, so there's not a lot holding it together. This has been glued onto seams, been glued at the seams, This has all been glued at the seams. Kind of makes it tough to work with. But let's take a look a little closer to see what some of our challenges are going to be with this project. So here I've got the drawer bottom set out next to the drawer, and hopefully you can kind of see how this is all warped here. Chances of getting this straight again are between slim and none. Also, I'm fairly certain this is not original to the drawer because this curve was not seated all the way up into this dado, this slot. There's a slot that goes all around the face and the two sides, as you saw me take this apart, for this to slide into. Now the way a drawer should be assembled is this should be slid in, dry fit, and then just a couple nails here to hold everything in place. Someone has, I'm fairly certain, replaced this bottom. They've done a repair here. You can see there's a whole rail that's been added here. Okay. They've done that on both sides. I mean, they did a fair job. Can't complain about that. But then at some point, somebody thought it would be a great idea. See if I can move that and not make so much noise with it. Somebody thought it would be a great idea to glue this in. So I'm going to need to get this whole dado, this slot, all cleaned out here, all cleaned out here. Also, I can see that this drawer back is missing a piece. It should be clear up here. There's a whole piece missing. We're not going to worry about that today because, well, we're not restoring this piece of furniture. We're just making it good and functional for Mama Bear. It's going to be a challenge because this has all been split, so I'm not sure how I'm going to attach new wood to it yet, but we'll get creative. Okay, I'm going to step away and I'm going to get this stuff all cleaned out, clean out these slots, and make it ready for our next steps. Okay, so all I'm using is I've got a chisel. I'll use my cutting knife if I need to. And I have a little piece of scrap of the 3/16 birch plywood that I bought that is going to make up the new drawer bottom. That's what fits into this slot here. So this little piece of scrap I can use as my test to make sure this is cleaned out good and that my new drawer bottom is going to fit in here. And this is pretty tight because of this glue that's in here. So let's get after cleaning it up. Okay, so I literally only took another 5 minutes from what you watched a moment ago to finish cleaning this up. What I don't want to do is I don't want to make this dado or this slot too wide. That's why I didn't get too crazy with sandpaper or anything in there. Got my little piece of scrap here. I just want to make sure my new piece is going to slide in here. It's going to meet up in this corner. And then I'm just using this as my guide. Does it fit comfortably all the way here? If it's floppy, it was too loose in here, or if it's not seated all the way in, that's probably why somebody glued things up before. But I've got everything all cleaned up. That's as good as this is going to get. Let's work on the drawer bottom. Okay, so what I have here is the replacement wood. This is a piece of birch. I call it a door skin. It measures out at 1/4 of an inch, but when you go to Home Depot, you're actually going to see it's a panel that's 5.2 millimeters thick. I don't know why in the heck they put that in metric, but anyway, this is 1/4 inch material to replace this 1/4 inch material. Now, your instinct might be, let's lay this right out here, trace it out, use this as a pattern, and away I go. I don't want to do that for 2 reasons. Number one, once this is warped, I'll never get this laid out quite right to get an accurate pattern, not for what we're working with. Also, because this has had this wood filler and Bondo and glue in it, I know this did not fit in that drawer properly before. A couple other things we can look at here is, you can see it was about the right width, because see where the glue line is here? Someone put glue in there. We see where this is scruffed and this is worn. So this fit into that slot in the drawer on the side pretty well. But up here, I don't know if you can see it, I drew a pencil line on here. Can you see that pencil line right next to my fingernail? That's all that was holding this in up front. And see how that disappeared? And then when we get clear over here, this is why this had problems and had been kind of goobered and bondoed up, because this piece was already too small. So we're going to just take this and do that with it. It's junk. So we start fresh with this piece of wood. What I'm going to do is, let's put our drawer right on here so you can see a couple things. See the slot that goes around here? That slot, or that dado, should be half the width of this sideboard. That's a 1/2 inch, so that's going to be a 1/4 inch in there, right? Same thing is going to go for this drawer front. This front is actually 5/8 of an inch, so it's probably a 1/4 inch slot. Easiest way for me to find that out is I'm going to take my little piece of scrap. Come out, little piece of scrap. Where did you go? I'll use a different little piece of scrap. I'll take this piece of scrap. I can put it right in here. Draw a line. You can see now, yep, right at a 1/4 inch. So this is a 1/4 inch deep. That one's a 1/4 inch deep. I can't use my straight edge on this corner, so let's just put an end in here. And you can see this is also a 1/4 inch deep. So what I'm going to do is, my overall drawer width is 36 5/8. I'm going to subtract a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. So I'll take a 1/2 inch off of there, and I'm going to cut this piece at 35 7/8. So I don't have a nice big contractor table on here. I've not built a new panel jig yet, and my fence doesn't go out to 35 7/8 to cut a nice piece here. So I'm gonna, I don't know, break the rules. Let's check square first. I'm at 53 1/2. 53 1/2, so diagonal. I've got a nice piece of square wood to start with. I wanted 35 7/8 is where I'm going to cut this. Okay, this is my scrap side. So instead of measuring 35 7/8 that I can't do, I'm going to measure right at the 12 inch mark and set my fence at 12 inches. It's not proper panel cutting, but that's why it's called a shenanigan, because, well, sometimes we do the panel cutting we need. Keep in mind here, when you're setting this up, I've got 12 inches to my mark. My waist side is here. My blade is 1/8 of an inch wide, so I really want this side to be at 11 1/8, or this side to be at my 12 inch mark. It'll make sense once you've screwed that up a few times as I have. You too will be careful. All right, let's give her a go. Okay, so here we go. We've got our new drawer bottom cut to the width that we want. Let's see which side I actually want. That side's a little more rough than this side. We'll make this side the finished side that'll be inside the drawer. I am going to find and mark center. Where's my pencil? How do I want to do this? Now, I've done this drawer once already, twice actually, because the very first one I did on a second drawer. I botched it up. And so here for your viewing pleasure, this will be now my third drawer bottom, the first one for this drawer. Comes with practice. Okay, so I've got my center point here, which helps me kind of look at my center point for my drawer. What I want to do, you may not be able to see, is I'm going to line up the edge of this panel with the inside edge of this drawer so I can trace out what it needs to be here. So let's just get you lined up here, Turkey. Square it up on here as best I can. We're really doing this by feel. And we look pretty centered here. Fairly centered here. Not sure how square this drawer is because it's, well, it's had some experiences. All right. There we go. So now I can see what I'm going to need to cut out here to fit. Now remember, this is going to go in 1/4 of an inch into this drawer, okay, because that's where my slot is, my dado for it to go into. That means if I measure from the inside of the drawer to the back side of the drawer, 17.5. Let's see, 17.25, add 1/4, 17.5. Do I feel like that's a good distance? Because after all, this is different than the other drawer was. I think what I'm going to do is use another little cheater here. Let's see if this makes sense to you. I've got just a piece of scrap drawer frame. What I've done is I've put this all the way into the slot. And I am just going to make a mark in the back here. That should be right where this little rascal needs to be measured. So now that's at 17 5/8. I'm going to go a whisker long. Let's go 17 11/16. We're going to rip this board 17 11/16 first. So I've got my drawer depth accounted for, and then we'll go cut this out. Okay, so before I get all crazy and cut out this curve, let's take our piece of wood and make sure it's going to fit in the drawer. Now, I know where I want the inside of the drawer, the top, to be, right? So let's just make sure it's going to fit here before I go any further. Got to talk a little nice to it. There we go. Okay, so you might look at that and you might think, wow, I really screwed up. Look how far this is sticking up here, right? So look, there's some space. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I get a little wonky when I try to measure things that are curved and have a slot and a dado and things that you have to think too far. So here's a little trick that works for me. I've got this sitting in here. You can see what the cutout's going to be. If I measure from the inside of the drawer to the edge of my wood, I'm at 2.5 inches. And I'm at 2 3/4 inches right up here to my mark. This mark being, let's see, I have to think about this. I'm going to cut to here, so I'm going to lose another 1/4 inch, right? So 2 1/2. I'm going to be at the 3-inch mark to the inside of the drawer. And then when I look up here, lo and behold, I'm at the 3-inch mark. So that means when I cut this line, right on this line, and I fit this down into this 1/4 inch slot, it's going to go down 3 inches. The drawer bottom should be flush with my back of my drawer. Fingers crossed. So now I have my drawer. I have my drawer bottom. I keep my old sanding discs around. I'm just going to knock off these edges really quick, smooth them out, and let's do a test fit. Okay, let's see what we've got going on here. Now with luck, this rascal will fit. Now remember, put the side that you wanted in here the correct direction. This is a little rougher, but the other thing to be aware of is these curves might not be exactly the same. And the way this was fit in here, if I were to turn this around, it might not fit. So pay attention to how you do your layout, how you do your cuts, and how you put it together. Let's see, we're going to do this together for the first time. Will it fit? Gotta coax it a little bit. Come on, turkey. Lots of moving parts to get this to go in here. Okay, how'd we do? She seems fairly solid, and we did pretty good with our fit right up along here. So now, all I need to do is very carefully, I'm going to put probably 4 nails in here to hold this together. What you don't want to do is don't glue this together. Now you might have saw me a couple of times, I was measuring to see that this drawer bottom was square. If you go diagonal to diagonal from the same points, it should be the exact same dimension, and then you know that you don't have a parallelogram, I don't know. You want this to be square, because the drawer bottom is what will square up your drawer when you put it together. Now, one thing I have going against me is in the past, someone has already glued up these joints, glued them differently than they were originally glued. So I'm not sure this is as ideally perfect as we would like it to be, but by golly, it's good enough for Pardee's Shop shenanigans. So let me see what I can do about some nails in the back here. I have to be careful because this wood is thin. It's already split out. This could be a challenge. So what I have here is I have some smooth shank nails, which is different from a finish nail. So if you were to look at these two up close, I don't know if you can see that. This one has a bigger head on it. This is a finish nail, okay? A finish nail is designed to be countersunk, And this smooth shank with a head on is designed to go right on the top, not countersunk. I'm sure that made a whole lot of sense. These are a little bit longer than I really wanted, but it's what I have. And sometimes with club fingers like I have, well, instead of trying to hold this, I'll cheat and I'll use a pair of pliers. Let's see what we can do here. I'm a little concerned about this back splitting out on me. And no, for your Puritans, this is not the right hammer. It is a ball peen hammer, but hey, it's a shenanigan, and I work on cars more than wood. Perfect. Sounded right. Question is over here. This guy's going to be kind of a goober, I'll bet you. Possibility that one might have come out on the other side. But remember, this is not a restoration. This is a repair. It's going to keep Mama Bear's socks and shirts dry and out of the way. Don't mind me dropping stuff. That's why I bought a whole box of them. Okay, and we'll put one more down here. And we're going to call it good. And there we have it. Okay, let's see together for the first time. Did anything else come through? Nope. Smooth and nice all the way back. So here is our new drawer bottom. Nice and clean here. Clean all the way through. I say we'll chalk that up as a success. I'll go put it in the dresser and let's see how it works out. Okay, and there we have a finished product. I mean, as best as we can see in a tight space. Nice old dresser. Now has drawer bottoms in it that'll hold things like it should. Drawers are going to work, open and close like they should. Again, not a renovation, not a restoration, but by golly, it put life back into a beautiful piece of furniture. So, there you have it. That's how you fix a soggy bottom dresser drawer. Well, that'll button it up this afternoon. Thanks for joining me. Remember, don't be afraid to step out and give something a shot. Now, there are some woodworking Puritans out there. I have no question watched what I just did and could improve upon it 100 times over. And I agree. I could have taken a lot different time and improved upon it many times over. But at the end of the day, I have two drawers that are fixed, that hold clothes like they're supposed to on a beautiful old dresser, and that gets the job done. Hey, click like and subscribe if you would, if you enjoy the content here on Pardee Shop Shenanigans. Lots more fun to come. We just don't know what it's going to be until it gets here. Go out and make somebody smile today. You both deserve it. Bob out.